As the family steps into their new home, an unsettling silence fills the air, thick with a presence they can't explain. Emily feels it first, a whisper beneath the floorboards, soft but insistent. "Emily, come closer." Her heart races. This house isn't just old, it's alive, and it's waiting for them. The camera zooms in on an eerie old house at dusk. Its dark silhouette looms against the bruised sky, surrounded by overgrown weeds and a long, creaky driveway. A family, a father, mother, and their teenage daughter, pull up in their car, their eyes wide with excitement. John, the father, forces a smile, trying to hide the unease that stirs deep within him. His pulse quickens as he steps out of the car, but he pushes the feeling aside. This is their fresh start, their dream home, he tells himself. Sarah, his wife, clutches their daughter's hand, squeezing it for reassurance. Emily, their teenage daughter, feels a growing knot in her stomach, a strange sense of discomfort she can't explain. They enter the house, and as the door creaks open, they are greeted by the eerie silence that fills the large, empty hallway. John smiles, but his eyes are filled with a shadow of doubt. Sarah laughs nervously, trying to convince herself it's just the charm of an old house. Emily, though, feels her heart racing as the air grows thick with something unexplainable. That night, as they unpack, the house seems to settle around them, but Emily can't shake the feeling that something is off. The house is alive with strange creaks and groans, and though her parents dismiss it, she can't ignore the soft whispers from beneath the floorboards. She lies in bed, terrified, listening as the voices grow louder, calling her name in a low, desperate tone. "Emily, Emily, come closer." Her heart races, her hands trembling as she pulls the blankets tighter around her. She feels the cold air creep under the covers, and her skin prickles with fear. Emily holds her breath, praying the voices will stop, but they don't. She sits up, her chest tight with panic, her hands shaking as she slowly peeks toward the floorboards. The following days pass in a blur of unease. Emily feels a constant knot in her stomach, the whispers never fully gone. She can't focus on anything, her thoughts always drifting back to the sounds beneath the floor. When she tells her mother, Sarah brushes it off as just the house settling. But Emily sees the doubt in her mother's eyes. Sarah is trying too hard to be brave. One night, the whispers intensify, almost becoming screams. Emily follows the sounds, her pulse racing. She knows it's real now. As she steps into the living room, the floorboards creak loudly under her weight, and she freezes. The whispers become agonizingly clear. "Come closer, Emily. We need you. Help us. Help." Emily's breath catches in her throat. She wants to scream, to run, but her feet are glued to the spot. She turns toward the stairs, her heart hammering in her chest. Every step an echo of her fear. Desperate for answers, Emily sneaks into the attic and finds an old trunk, its surface covered in thick dust. Her hands shake as she opens it, finding yellowed photographs of a family that once lived there. They're all smiling, but their eyes seem empty. The faces are so familiar, like shadows of people who have vanished from time. Beneath the photos, Emily finds the diary. She flips through the pages, each one filled with cryptic, disturbing entries. The family's last days in the house are described with a growing sense of dread, the whispers becoming louder, more desperate. They weren't just sounds, they were cries for help, voices trapped beneath the floor. As Emily reads, her breathing becomes shallow, the room closing in on her. She feels an overwhelming sadness mixed with a rising dread. This wasn't just a house, It was a tomb for the souls of the lost. Later that night, the whispers explode into full-blown cries for help. Emily races downstairs, her legs shaking, her pulse loud in her ears. She finds her father standing by the hole in the floor, staring down into the darkness with horror. His face is pale, his mouth dry as he whispers, "We need to leave. Now." From the hole below, a voice calls out John's name. Not just a whisper, but a desperate, raspy scream. "John, help me! It's too late! We can't escape!" Emily watches, wide-eyed, as dark shapes rise from the floor, their faces contorted in agony. Sarah gasps and stumbles back, clutching Emily. The room grows cold, and the house groans, as if alive with pain. John pulls Emily close, but the figures are already circling them. In a panic, Emily remembers the final entry in the diary. The family had been victims of a ritual sacrifice, their souls bound to the house. They had been calling out for release, but no one had come, until now. With trembling hands, Emily steps forward, shaking with fear, but somehow steady in her resolve. She recites the prayer she found in the diary, her voice shaky but firm. As the words escape her lips, the shadows writhe in pain, their forms flickering, distorting. The air crackles with energy, the house shaking as if it's alive. The spirits scream one last time, a terrifying, otherworldly wail that shakes the very foundation of the house. Emily closes her eyes, tears streaming down her face as the air around them bursts into a blinding light. When the light fades, the figures are gone, and the room is eerily silent. The house falls silent. The family stands in the living room, exhausted, trembling, but alive. As they step outside into the dawn, Emily looks back one last time, but this time she sees nothing but an empty house. The whispers have stopped, for now. But as the family drives away, the camera lingers on the house. The faintest of whispers still rise from beneath the floorboards, and deep within, the spirits remain, waiting forever.